When people ask me what I study for a living, I tell them that I study the dark side of humanity. I am fascinated with the question of how ordinary people act under extraordinary circumstances. I basically try to understand why neighbors kill neighbors, why people who have been living together for a long time, for many generations, become really just enemies of each other. My name is Günes Murat Tezcür. I am the director of School of Politics and Global Studies. My book, Liminal Minorities, Religious Difference and Mass Violence in Muslim Societies, addresses this question. Let's talk about it. Some people will say that sometimes greed is the primary motivation, so people want to become richer by kind of really destroying the other group. Or it can be just fear. So if you fear the other group, then you think that you should act preemptively before you get attacked. Other times it can be resentfulness, in a sense that if you think that other people became more successful or they occupy higher stages in the society, then you target them. But in other cases it can be more about like certain stigmas. It can be based on the language they speak, their skin color, or their religion. But I would like to bring your attention to a particular episode that took place in Iraq back in 2014. Iraq has been very violent since the invasion in 2003. It's also a very diverse country with many different religious groups. The majority are Shiite Arabs, but there are also Sunni Arabs and Sunni Kurds. But many people will not know that there's also other small minorities like Christians and Yezidis. So Yezidis is an ancient religion which has been living in Iraq since ancient times. They were targeted by the IS, the so-called Islamic State, which were supported by the Sunni Arabs. On the fateful day of August 3rd, 2014, around 3,000 Yazidis were killed and close to 7,000 of them were captured. So when I look at the Yazidis, I try to understand why their neighbors who have been living with them for a long time attack them. And one thing I basically discovered that we definitely need to understand how religious beliefs can be different layers of stigmatization. Religious faith could play a role in the dark side of humanity. When people think that just other people belong to different religion, they don't deserve the same dignity and recognition, it can be a source of great hostility. But it doesn't mean that religion is always inherently violent. It all depends on how religion is interpreted and how people live it. So one outcome from this tragic violence which happened to Yazidis is that now at least the world knows about the Yazidis. There's a much more proper and global recognition of the Yazidi religion. I'm hoping that my research, my book and my teaching is making people more aware of religious diversity and making a small contribution to religious coexistence where neighbors can live with their neighbors peacefully. If you're interested in the Middle East politics and political violence, please come to School of Politics and Global Studies at Arizona State University.